It is just one cheetah, just one cutie cheetah at the end of
Yeah.
life, just another moment.
Exactly.
We think it's a very big deal, but it's just another cheetah.
Yeah.
Of course, it depends how you get to that cheetah. There's a harder trail than others, you might say.
And then another interesting thing that happened, at least this weekend, to put it briefly, there's an Iranian family, a family with 2 young kids, and they are seeking asylum in the States because they converted from Islam to Christianity. And he and his family, I don't know, we don't know the full details or the full story, we just met them this weekend, were threatened with their lives or whatever. I'm not quite sure what happened, but they decided to flee from Iran because they converted from Islam to Christianity. So, they are seeking asylum and looking for somewhere to live, how to work, how to get asylum status. They can't work unless they get permission to work. Their passports have been seized. Anyway, so, just a lot of thinking of stories.
I think it's like that for all of us. Yes, one of our swimmer friends who's dying from cancer, and then he was in and out of hospital, and then another story about another one, and one who had a stroke last week, and this and that, and so one bounces from one story to another, and usually there's so little understanding, so little awareness of what appears now, the kind of cheetah now, the thinking with worry or agitation, taking it for this person and that person, but no understanding of just what is visible now, just the sound heard because of being so lost and carried away in all the different stories. And this is daily life.
What about the good stories? We don't get lost in them.
Really?
We concentrate on the negative, on the bad news.
I think we get lost in the good stories too, like sharing notes with other friends about our beautiful swims this morning and the different fish that have been seen and this and that and the bushwalk you'd had. I think we get carried away by all the different stories.
Totally. But the ratio of getting it carried away seems to me to come down on the, and maybe that's why human race survived. I don't know.
And it doesn't matter because they are all different stories, whether good or bad, but basically no understanding at all of what the truth is, what the reality is now, because they're all taken for people and things and truths when actually they're just different stories, different ideas, different concepts. And sometimes people think, oh, well, if you don't have these stories about this relation or friend who's sick and invalided and has the problem, then there won't be any kindness. But actually, it's the opposite. There can be the kindness and the help and the compassion without the long dwelling on the idea of someone and something all the time. Anyway, let's just say hello to Ajahn. Sawadika, Ajahn.
Sawadika, Ajahn.
Sawadika, Ajahn. I'm not sure if she's here. Are you here, Ajahn?
Yes, can you hear me?
A little faintly.
Yes,
Sawadika, Dhamma. Sawadika.
Hello to
Can
everyone
you hear
else.
me now?
Getting a little better.
Better.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
That's good, Ajahn. Thank you.
Shall we start?
We can start. So, Bev, would you like to just tell Ajahn what we were discussing?
Well, I thought we were just talking about, one sheet at a time. We're surrounded with stories and concepts. And I guess, as I was saying to Sarah, this weekend we were in Canada for a memorial service for my uncle. And I visited my aunt, who is 102 and is really in bed and is, as she said to Tom, why am I still alive? And, Tom is trying to be,
No, I just said because God keeps the good ones around.
not that I'm not sure that she believes in God, but I just said we have no, we have no choice, But and then the other interesting story, again, a story of someone, a family we met from Iran who is seeking asylum in the States because his family are converted from Islam to Christianity, and they are being persecuted or threatened, and so they're seeking asylum in the States. And I sort of wondered, why did they change from Islam to Christianity? And really his answers were not, didn't make sense to me. And as he says, they went through a lot. They didn't come straight to the States. They went through South America and through the border. Anyway, some horrendous stories. And in the end, he says, God will provide.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so just stories, Ajahn, and just, not being, realizing that they are stories and that death is one cheetah.
But can we consider about life or what is there now with a reality which arises and see and sometimes hear, smell, taste, touch, and then thinking? Can there be such story? So all depends on that, the reality which is so real because it's now arising and see. Just arise to see. Or at moment of hearing, no one there at all. Without that which arises and hear, can there be the story, thinking about this and that, oh, I am hearing? Impossible. That's why in truth, just without that reality, which arises to experience an object through different doorways, there cannot be any world, any car, any building, or anyone, any story at all. That's why can it be known that it's anatta, or no one can make it arise at all? Only the conditions can condition such moment to arise to see such and such different objects, or hear such and such word, condition the understanding, getting together, the different sound to be different story, and then gone, all gone, never come back again, never return in samsara from birth to death right now. What can come again or arise again once it has gone? And this is true because there is birth, and then seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and then die. Death is there. It means the end of the reality which arises to experience what is there in life as such situation or life for each one as it is. But in truth, if there's no reality which arises and experience an object from moment of birth, non-stop, on and on, arising and falling, unknown all the time, but the object changes. So it means that the reality which arises and experience is different, changes too. That's why hearing cannot see and thinking cannot taste at all. See, just different moment by conditions. If there's no birth, there's no seeing, there's no hearing, there's no this. They can be no understanding of the truth at all, because no understanding of what conditions, what and how come to just arise and falsely, never to return at all. How come? No one can stop, because actually, where is the self or the one or I? At birth, what is there? And what is there at moment of death? Or what is there now at moment of seeing? So true that it can be known. That it's the reality which does not have any shape, no form, or anything at all. It just arises to see, because there can be conditions for the mountain, the sun, the sky to arise to be such and such. Why not? There are conditions for a reality arises to experience an object. They are dhammas, they are real, they are conditioned to arise and then gone, following instantly. No matter what is seen now, it's gone. Before there can be the moment when it changed from seeing to hearing, because there are what is there in between seeing and hearing, like that what is there at birth and while it does not see, does not hear, does not think, it's there by conditions not to see, to hear. But when time comes, conditions to see, it experience that which you see now, that which is seen appearing. Before that, it does not appear. And before that, while one is sleeping, nothing can appear. But there are conditions not to experience the object at moment of sleeping, to arise and experience what is there seen, what is there heard. That's all. In life, 6 stories. Is that true? Is that not the absolute truth? Seeing is seeing where is anyone or anything. At moment of hearing, hearing arises and hear, experience sound, whereas anyone or anything or any story. But after that, there is thinking about such and such experiences through the eyes, the ears, as a story or thing seen around all the time in life. So what is the absolute truth? Without condition to arise, can there be seeing? Without condition to arise to hear, can there be hearing? Without conditions for thinking about that which seen and heard, can there be any thought about story, people and thing? And after thinking, where were such that we thought about? Gone all the time. So rapidly, that's why it cannot be realized until the enlightenment of the Buddha. After his enlightenment, he thought about the absolute truth of each moment more than we can expect in a split seconds moment. And in split seconds of a split second reality, to be learned little by little, to understand what we take for whatever is there now or any time, what is the absolute truth that can be known. And there are many degrees of understanding of what is there now, hearing, considering, to have confidence of the truth. No one made it arise, but it's there. And it's gone unknowingly. Otherwise, the object which is seen cannot be changed, just only one. But so many things from time to time, from moment to moment, different realities, condition, different thought, different feeling, different kind of memory. Everything in life is there, unknown before, as what is there in a moment, much more than we can think about. There are more conditions than we expect. Just only eye-based condition seeing. That's not only eye-based, more than that. Unknown. In a second, split seconds, and then gone. Life is just like this. But ignorance is there. After seeing, no thought about it. The characteristic which sees is not that, is the object of seeing. So at that very moment, seeing sees. The object which is seeing cannot be seeing. Different characteristic by conditions. No one can make it arise at all. Only conditions. So can there be realization of moment of birth, or yesterday, or just a moment ago, or in the future, depending on conditions? If there's nothing to think about at all, how can there be moment of considering, seeing right now as it's there, as what is said by the teachings of the Buddha, begin to attend to the characteristic, the truth, the absolute truth of each moment, whether it's true or not. As he said, whatever arises falls away instantly. So the first noble truth is that nothing can stay at all. As soon as it has arisen, it falls away. And much more than that, more repeated than that, more rapid than that. Beyond expectation. So learn to understand what is there, little by little, to have confidence, whether is it I who see, or it's just a reality conditioned by such and such to arise to see and then gone. At moment of hearing, it's different from moment of seeing. Can never be the same moment at all. Different object, different conditions for that which experience object to arise and hear and then gone. Each moment is conditioned. Without conditions, can anything arise? Whatever is there now is experienced by a reality which arises to experience. They are quite different, the reality which arises to experience. But the chief one is the reality which is conditioned to arise just to experience the characteristic of that which is experienced. Different sound. Why is different? Because it's different by conditions. And how it be known as its different sound? There must be the reality which experiences each sound to understand the truth that they are different. If there's no such reality which arises and experiences the characteristic of the object so clear, how can there be the idea of the difference between the horizon and the ocean, or what is what? So close, different color of just even one rose. How come to be known? Is this true? Is this what is there in life? And what is the absolute truth of each moment? That's why I begin to understand what is meant by the reality, absolute reality, anatta. It cannot belong to anyone. It is no one. It's only a reality conditioned by different conditions. So even the reality which arises to experience as the object is different too. By way of the chief one and the other arises together and so on. That can be learned little by little to understand each moment when there are conditions for it to arise. The I cannot intend to do anything. Intention is a reality. It arises to attend or to have intention to what is there as the object of intention. Just learn to understand what is there in life and be truthful to the truth. And that is the only way to have more understanding of what is there. Because being so true to what is there now, seeing is there. What is it? It sees. And what does it mean? It sees. It experiences the characteristic of the reality which is seen. Only that object, one at a time. So we are talking about life, unknown. What are there in life before? To understand in truth what is there in life. Without birth, can they be seeing right now, hearing right now, and how come to be the end, to be this personality? When time comes, it ends up this life. But there are conditions to arise again as this moment is gone, and there are conditions for the next moment to arise again. Different ones. Never be the same. So there can be the understanding of anything in life as we learned from what the Buddha had directly experienced the truth. Is doubt a reality? See, whatever is there is so real. It's different from moment of understanding, moment of wrong understanding.
And I think sometimes there is misunderstandings when people hear us talking about seeing now, hearing now, the reality now. They think it means there should be less thinking about the different stories we've mentioned. But it's not like that at all, because whilst thinking about the Iranian family and the difficulties they've had, or thinking about the elderly aunt, there is still just one chitta at a time, and understanding can come in, pop in any time at all, because they're still seeing, they're still hearing, they're still liking and disliking all the different realities, even whilst thinking about a story, one chitta after another. So the moments of kindness, moments of concern, moments of worry, seeing, hearing, can be understanding any time at all, because what one thinks about it all depends on one's accumulated tendencies. So like Tom and Bev have accumulations to have a lot of kindness, but maybe also concern, but still seeing and hearing. So understanding can come in any time, because whatever arises is conditioned, the thinking to think about this topic rather than another one, the pleasant topic or the unpleasant topic. It's all by conditions, all by accumulated tendencies. So that's why the teachings are for everyone, no matter what the accumulations, no matter what stories are thought about, because the realities are just the same. The touching of hardness, the seeing of what is visible, thinking about one story after another. And it's all daily life, all back to this very moment. Chitta now. You have any other comments, Tom or Bev?
Not really, no. I mean, I realize it's just thinking, and we have our accumulations to worry or not.
And when your aunt says, oh, well, God keeps the good ones, even if whether or not she said it, but when someone thinks like this, it's just like someone conventionally saying, oh, well, it's because of good karma, or
Yeah.
you know, so it's just the conventional way of seeing it, and the result is some goodness anyway.
Yes.
But we never have any idea what karma is in store the next moment. Even the Buddha couldn't live to 102. And last week, Anne was asking about examples of conceit, or more subtle. It's conceit about anything, even conceit about living a longer age, or being healthy this year, or not getting the flu that other friends have, anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, Sarah, as you're speaking and as Ajahn was speaking, there's especially as you were speaking there, you know, the thinking, and the I that's always there.
And because the I is always there, there's always the idea of the other person, that I too, this one and that one. And because there's not enough understanding of Dhamma, so it's always the thing, the person taken for being the reality.
Right.
My experience, my story.
My thinking.
My thinking all the time. My accumulation, good and bad.
And you know, the thinking about these things is well, there's inclination to listen to the teachings of the Buddha and think about them and consider them, but the question always comes back to who's thinking, who's considering,
Who is seeing and hearing in between as well.
Yes, for sure. Right.
Yes. And my problem with my thinking, or this tendency or that, is all about me. Yes.
Right. That's right. It's the moments of generosity and kindness and compassion, etc., that can, at those moments, well, it's kusala, so there's no I there. It doesn't take long to claim it as mine.
Just for a moment, or taken for the others.
Right.
And then someone may praise the kindness or the goodness and mana instantly, again, because of clinging to I that is important.
Mm-hmm. And sure, much more subtle than we know, is yet to be understood.
The glimpse of the tip of the iceberg for now.
Right.
I have a question about the aditana and adimok. And so what's the difference between them? Because they're both in dictionaries and even in Jessica's. Adimok is determination, and it actually says that aditana is also determination. So I don't understand what the difference is between the two of them. If anyone can help me out.
Well, adimokkha is the cetasika that arises with almost every citta, not with seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, but it's there with almost every citta in life, kusala or akusala, vipaka, kiriya. But aditanas, we've been talking about it. especially with regard to the parami, it's referring to the wholesome quality. Ajahn uses patience more recently. So it's like if we're using determination or resolution, or it's in a wholesome way, the patience to develop understanding with understanding. So it has this particular meaning when talking about the paramis. So I don't think there's much connection with the adimokkha, which arises with almost every chitta, which can be akusala as well. But let's see what Ajahn can add.
The word, we cannot study Dhamma by looking at the dictionary, but what is there now can be known. For example, there's a reality which is doubt, and the reality which is adimokkha. Is there any difference between the two? Doubt and no doubt. Because if we use any word, no matter in what language, can we understand the truth? Because the truth is there so very subtle. There's no shape, no form, but different reality. But in the way that we cannot imagine that even that is different reality. For example, at moment of seeing, is there any doubt about it?
No.
See, by what? Learning from the book or understanding the truth. It's impossible to realize the truth just without any understanding at all. And even understanding has to develop on and on and on to begin to understand the truth. And when it's firm and firmer, it is adidana, never change. So firm to understand the truth that it can be understood when it's there. That's why at that moment, no doubt, there is adimokkha cetasika arising. And there are other cetasikas with factor arising together by conditions to be different moments of different kinds of citta. That's why we learn little by little. There is no understanding of the reality which she is now as a moment of thinking, no understanding of thinking. So the idea of I think is there. But when that is the understanding of the reality which arises to experience an object each moment in life from birth to death, there's no doubt that there must be a moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. But what is that at that very moment? The reality which arises to experience. Its function is just to experience. The chief of experience the object clearer than the other cetasika, which arises together, but perform their function by different characteristics of a reality which is different from the chief of experiencing an object. Is there doubt at that moment? There is adimokkha, but who can pinpoint? Because they arises and falls away so rapidly that nothing is known at all right now. What is what? But what is there now? There is seeing right now. That's why what can be known or studied is that which is the object through the six doorways. Because without the reality which experiences an object, how can there be such moment of thinking, liking, disliking? That's why we learn to understand the truth of what is life, what is there in life. Thinking, life, in life, without life, can there be thinking, feeling, smelling, tasting? But what is life? A reality which arises and experiences an object. That's why learn to have confidence of the truth of each reality. Otherwise, there cannot be the understanding of other reality which experiences the object or which does not experience anything at all. That's why if we have just the idea about it, it's not enough. But to understand firmer, clearer, better, it's a condition to have more condition to realize the truth, because right understanding is there about each reality or each word about each reality. For example, now, it's only the idea that there is a reality now, sees or experiences the visible object, and we don't have to say visible or whatever. It's that which is seen, how short it is, how tiny it is, because just in a moment and then gone. But without moment and moment and moment, how can there be different appearing of the object which is there? Each moment, as there is a reality which arises to experience the object, there must be the object of the moment of experiencing, different by conditions. That's all. So if there's no such reality, can there be thinking? Can there be seeing? Can there be hearing? But seeing is not hearing, is not thinking, because the object which is conditioned such citta to arise is different. That's all. At moment of thinking, there is no hearing. Have firm confidence of the truth, of the reality which arises, and experience the object. And later on, even that the reality which arises and experiences the object also is conditioned to arise and fall away. But now that the reality is not known yet, how can it be the moment of realizing the nature of that or anything which is there, as it's not permanent at all? Whatever is there changes or fall away, clearer and clearer and clearer, no doubt. And adhimokkha arises with citta, but confidence of the truth is different from no understanding of the truth. At moment of seeing, no need to have adhimokkha because it's conditioned by Dhamma. Just arise to see, only one moment. Even when the object is there, the object does not fall away yet, but the seeing falls away. It performs its function just to experience the object clear. That's all, and gone. The next moment cannot see, but it still experiences the same object because the object hasn't fallen away yet, but it just receives. It just receives. Otherwise, there cannot be no more experience of that object, even it's not seeing. That's why if we learn about the truth, have firm confidence of the reality which arises and experience, not arise to like or dislike or feeling or remembering at all. It just arises to experience the object right now. It cannot remember. It cannot like because it's the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object. And we use different words, and the word that we are familiar is citta, the chief of experiencing the object. It cannot like, it cannot dislike, it cannot remember, because its function is just to experience the object clearly. That's all. That's why learn to understand that there is that reality anytime in life from birth to death. Otherwise, there cannot be a moment of thinking. So what is thinking? It experiences the object, which is not visible object or sound, but it's there. Thinking about whatever that has been experienced, accumulated, like or dislike, to condition such moment to be different from moment of attachment or aversion and so on. but even itself arises and falls away, all by conditions. That's why learn to understand a reality clearer and clearer, in order to not to forget that it's there. No matter thinking, it thinks. No matter seeing, it sees. That's beginning to get closer to the truth of the reality, which is there in daily life, right now or any time. And that is the study of the truth, the reality, not the word. They are Dhamma. Thinking is Dhamma, seeing is Dhamma. But we just say all Dhammas or everything is Dhamma. It has its characteristic. But now each one is real. It's a Dhamma. And the one which is the chief of experiencing, but is always forgotten, is that which is now experiences, whatever is there appearing. So thinking, there must be the object of thinking, but it's not the visible object or the sound. But some moments, it thinks like it's so clear, like in a dream. We think that what is there in a dream is so true, but no seeing, no smelling, no tasting, only memory of that which has been experienced unexpectedly. The dream is so strange, so fantasy. How come? Not daily life at all. That's why the conditions for thinking, to think as in a dream, different from thinking now, which is not a dream, but it's thinking because it's not seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So in a day, can anyone or any moment escape from the reality which arises and experiences? Impossible. It's the unknown because there is attention to the object which is there as story about this and that in a day, full of different story from moment to moment.
Yes.
So in brief, Azita, Adimokkha Cetasika arises with all citas except for the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and the moha mula citta with doubt. So it arises with every other citta in life, even in deep sleep. And I think the aditana is referring to that reality, the determination or confidence when it arises with panya. So it's particularly the reference to with panya that aditana is used. And I think that when we looked at the 4 kinds of aditana last time, the 4 foundations, it's referring to that reality that arises with panya, with such a truth, with chaga, the letting go of akusala, and upasama, the leading to the to enlightenment and the realization of nibbana, the true peace. So adimokkha is very, very common at each moment of experiencing now, except at moments of seeing and hearing and when there is doubts. But the aditana, especially when used as one of the paramis, is referring to that determination or confidence with panya. That's the main distinction as I understand it.
Okay, so adimokkha, as you say, arises with most cittas. So when we go to aditana and those 4 foundations, that's more than one citta at a time. When that those paramis arise, that's more than just one citta, isn't it? Is that making sense? Aditana covers more than just adimokkha.
Well, it's a little bit like the other paramis when they're referring, like, for example, metta, but it's metta with panya or upeka with panya.
Okay.
So they're all referring to the arising of virya. It's not just any kind of virya which arises at almost every moment in life, but it's a particular virya arising with panya when it is a parami, when it is the virya of the path, and when it is, and it's the same for the others. So the truthfulness with panya,
Mm, mm.
the
Yes,
dana with panya, with
right.
understanding of the truth about realities. The kanti, the particular kind of virya, which is developed with understanding, so that it's great patience to continue developing the path, not
Right.
just ordinary virya.
Right. Yes. And I gathered from what Ajahn has just spoken about, that, you know, these things are still very intellectual and really just thinking. So, which I think why Ajahn emphasizes the experience now, as you also, because if it's not knowing now, and I can really, you know, intellectually understand this, if it's not knowing the moment now, these other adhitanas and the higher paramis can never be known, because panya hasn't even started to develop if it doesn't, because panya has to know right now. So,
And I
yeah.
think she made a good point at the very start of her sentence. She said one cannot study the teachings by looking at the dictionary.
Yes,
because
it was a good
no matter what the meaning we read or find, or what definition there is, or we read about adi and moksha as meaning towards and inclined towards the object, but without any understanding of, like now, the difference when there are moments of doubt and moments when there aren't doubt, without beginning to understand the characteristic of the reality when it appears now, it's all meaningless.
Yes.
So yes, as you say, it comes back to this moment and beginning to understand that characteristic when it appears now, like doubt or adimokkha, the opposite, and different from the confidence with understanding. So it is all about beginning to understand again and again what appears now, like when thinking about the story about the Iranian family. Or is there any understanding of the thinking at this moment, or the attachment to the story at this moment, or the difference between the concern and the confidence? Is there any understanding of those dhammas as not self? Because otherwise, as Anne said, it's all taken from me and my experience and these and those people. So I think these are good points.
And just back on that point, you know, that this morning my head was, as it often is, just buzzing, and I thought, well, what is this? And I can see why sanya and vedana are taken out as separate khandas, because once there's a memory of something, then there's a feeling about it, then the stories start. And it just goes on and on. So, yeah, that's just a comment on, you know, the stories that we create because of memory and feeling.
Looking all day for that pleasant feeling and minding so much about the feeling and thinking about the experience that created that feeling in our minds. And so they're very important factors.
Yeah, I seem to be having a lot of ill feeling, not sickness, but just bad feeling a lot of the time. And you know, because of that, there's more. I don't want to be like this. And then this morning it occurred to me, well, hello, here's the reality that can be known. You want good feeling? Well, it's not here. Just there is bad feeling. Just get to know it.
And it's just for a moment and gone.
Just for a moment, exactly. And with that, it was like, I had a bit of a giggle because it came to me, yeah, this is what the Dhamma is all about. Now, whatever it is. So, yeah.
The clinging and trying to avoid it and trying to brush it away and trying to have another one. It's just more clinging to the self.
Yeah.
Conditioning more unpleasant feeling to follow.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, the wonderful Dhamma. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Achan. I'll give somebody else a go. Oh, no, there is just one other thing. Achan mentioned that seeing, seeing the actual moment of seeing, sees the visible object, actually experience it, but the very next citta does not experience that object like seeing does, like sampatijana. That sampatijana is then the object in nimitta, or is it still a reality?
It's still the visible object that's experienced for the entire sense door process.
Okay.
But only the seeing consciousness sees it. So the sampatijana and the other cittas experience it, but they don't see it. They receive, investigate, or whatever words are used. They have their own particular function, but the function is not of seeing. And they're all accompanied by adhimokkha, which determines at that moment. So more chaitasikas and at moments of seeing or hearing. But no more. So the object is only seen. It's only appears as light at that one moment of seeing. So the other cittas, even though they're experiencing the visible object directly, but no visible object that's seen, no function of seeing.
Yeah, that's a hard one to grasp. But anyway, that's the reality of it, I guess. But there you go. There's a very, every moment, the seeing, and then the next citta doesn't actually see it. So there's enough to contemplate. Don't worry about adhimokkha or paramits. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Are you about to add a comment, Anne, or I saw you shaking your head at one point? No.
That's something else over across the room. I could say something, though. I found some of the comments on the DSG site very good. They're always good, but some of them struck me more this week. And one of them was, I think, in an exchange that you and Nina and Azita were having. And it was talking about attachment, that all attachment does is attaches. It doesn't know that it detaches. It doesn't know what it does. And it doesn't know that it's a kusala. It just struck me in such a way when it was said it doesn't know. I thought, no, that's absolutely correct, because again, it's the I that's just everywhere and lurking to pop out at any minute. And the other comment, we're talking about bean soupery, the beans, the whatever the ingredients of a soup, how they're all in there, they each play their own role, but you can't distinguish them. And that's so true with the Jaitasikas. I think we get some sense through thinking of when there's attachment or when there's dosa and the like, but it is so far from knowing them as dhammas. They rise and follow.
And they're all conditioning each other, just like the soup ingredients. So
yes.
Interest and the attachment, the conditioning each other, different from the interest with understanding, and so many different factors involved. The adhimokkha that is there at that moment of clinging is there, but is it known? Does it appear? And the
No.
sanya marking the object, remembering it, but does it appear? So many factors, just like the ingredients of the soup, arising together, conditioning each other. But it's good to know, to appreciate that it's not my memory or my determination or my doubt, just different ingredients arising by conditions, conditioning each other, experiencing the same object, each performing their function. The lobha clinging, the chanda having an interest, the sanya marking and remembering, and so on.
Right.
So yes, lobha only can cling, it can't perform
Right.
any other function, doesn't know anything about the object, doesn't have the interest or the memory, it just clings at those moments when
Yeah,
it arises.
doesn't feel the light, know why it attaches. Yeah.
It's an impersonal element, and
Yes,
so it just
as they all
performs the
are,
function of attaching. And all mental factors, like all jittas, experience the object and perform a specific function. So coming back to Azita's instance of the Jaku Vijnana Chitta and the ones that followed, I think it was more correct to say that Jaku Vijnana experiences the visible object rather than sees the visible object.
Yes.
It just experiences the visible object, just like the subsequent chitta in the sense door process also experiences the object, but they have different functions. And the function of Jaku Vijnana is the function of seeing.
Yes, that's right. Spirit, the function, yes. Describing as a function is good. The experiencing and the function of the experiencing is seeing. Yes.
There was a little discussion on DSG about experiencing and knowing, because sometimes people say the Jaku Vijnana Chitta knows the visible object. Actually, it doesn't know anything. It just experiences it and has that function of seeing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like lobha doesn't know anything about what it clings to. Only panya knows what is there, understands what is there.
Yes, for sure.
I think that's really good to point that out. Its function. That's its function. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah. Just like that thing of my thing about Lopa. How does Lopa know it can't get what it wants? Well, it doesn't. And I like Nina's comment, beware, not be aware, but beware of self popping in. So I thought that was a really good comment of hers. Yeah.
That's the conversation,
That was that thing
I was
that you
referring to. Yeah, I found that particularly poignant.
If lobha actually knew how harmful it was, it wouldn't keep arising, but it doesn't know. It just keeps clinging, accumulating more and more clinging. It doesn't know anything about the harm or danger of clinging.
Yes, that's what
like Jaku Vijnana's function is to see. Likewise, Lopa's function is to cling.
Right.
So it's giving it very,
and that's why one has to be a little more precise. Yes.
Yes.
Talk
indeed.
about the different functions. Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Jonathan, for mentioning that.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Very.
Dao or Sundara or Lian, do any of you have any questions or topic you'd like to bring up today? Or Alberta? Oh, Tadao's going. Go ahead, Tadao.
I'd like to know about Moha Mula Chitta. Why is it so difficult to become aware of Mohamula Chitta. Their Vedana is Upekkaya, and they are Asankarika. And there are two types, and one with restlessness, and the other is with doubt. But I don't think I've ever become aware of Mohamula Chitta. Why is it so difficult to become aware of Mohamula Chitta? That's my question.
Because there's so much moha and so little understanding. And just one point is actually Udacha arises with all akusala chitta, so it arises with both kinds of mohamula chitta, but one kind of mohamula chitta in addition has doubt arising with it. So they distinguish in this way. But anyway, I think Ajahn can add more, but if it doesn't appear, if there's no understanding of moha when it appears, then it's not known now.
Are you talking about moha mula chitta?
Yes.
What about chitta? No matter it is moha or seeing or thinking, what is chitta? When there's the understanding of chitta, no doubt about the moha mula chitta or any kind of chitta, because of understanding what chitta is. Is seeing very difficult to understand the chitta which sees? Or easier than moha mula chitta?
No, they are all difficult.
That's why, no doubt, but the moha mula chitta or lopa mula chitta or dosa mula chitta, because not enough understanding of chitta. Is that right? But when there is the understanding of the nature of chitta, no doubt about any chitta. That's why even chitta itself alone, we don't talk about the other mental factor like cetasikas, anger, and so on. Just chitta itself, it's not lopa, it's not dosa, it's just the reality now, experiences the object. If you think about moha mula chitta or lopa mula chitta, can there be the moment of understanding chitta itself, the reality which experiences the object? Why there cannot be the understanding of chitta? Because there is the attention to understand something else, not mind about the chitta at all. That's why even at moment of seeing, there is no understanding of seeing, the reality which sees, no doubt about it, just think about the object. But when there is time to consider whether even the reality, which is the chief of all, without it, no world, no thing at all appearing at all, but it's ignored or it's forgotten all the time. So how can it become closer at moment of seeing, to understand seeing itself, the moment of experiencing an object? Don't mind the object at all. That's what I don't mind whether it is with vicikicca or whatever, but the reality which is chitta has to be known. Otherwise, there cannot be letting go the idea of self, to have higher or clearer or high degree of understanding, even seeing right now as it is. That's why body, each word, which represents each reality as it is, chitta is chitta, not any cettasika at all. That's why there is doubt about this kind of chitta and this kind of chitta, but in truth, it's no understanding of chitta. Is that right? For example, right now, is there any understanding of just the reality which experiences the object? It has to begin to understand it when Chitta is the object. Nothing can be together. Nothing can appear together. It's only the nature of the reality which experiences the object right now. Don't mind about the object, but the reality which experiences is there. No doubt about Chitta, but there is always doubt because of the accumulation of ignorance, not understanding whatever is there in life, even it's there all the time from birth to death, from life to life, hidden all the time. That's why in the Tipitaka there's the word open up Chitta, because it's covered up so very thick with ignorance and the idea about such and such. And so consider when there is the beginning to attend, just to attend to the characteristic which sees or experiences, no matter what, sound or sight, but the reality which experiences is there. That's why that is Chitta Nupassana Satipatthana. Why Chitta? All kinds of Chitta. No matter it is seeing, hearing, smelling, moha, mudita, or whatever, are there as Chitta Nupassana Satipatthana. It means that the reality which experiences even is there. It's not attended at all. Just talk about it. It seems like there is fully understanding of the truth of it, but not at all. It's only the first stage of Pariyatti. There are 3 stages of Pariyatti. Pariyatti of the Four Noble Truth, and then it leads to Patipatti, Pariyatti of Patipatti, and Pariyatti of Pativeda. So now we're talking about Pariyatti at level of understanding what is there as the absolutely reality arising and falling away. But it is not the moment when it's there, experiences just one reality at a time. But we learn to understand one reality at a time. But it's not yet moment of understanding one at a time. The second stage of Pariyatti of the Four Noble Truth, the second round. That's why there can be question and answer, and it seems like we enjoy and pity about it. It's only understanding the first level intellectual understanding about what is there in words, in thought. At moment of considering, understanding that seeing is not that which is seen, but does seeing appear? Or does the object which is seen appear to what? Ignorance, no understanding of the truth. That's why there can be doubt, and there is doubt about this and that all the time, as long as not enough understanding of even intellectual understanding about it. So is there only doubt about moha mula citta or other citta too? The same citta cannot be changed. It's the reality which is the chief of experiencing the object. And can it be realized? If it's not realized, the understanding the object cannot be clear. So now, even what is there appears well, clear or not. If there's no word about the truth, the absolute truth, we think that it appears well. But in truth, how can it appear where it's gone all the time? Without any understanding of any reality. When do you think that there can be understanding of moha mula citta? without understanding citta?
No.
That's why just learn about the truth of one reality, so firm about its characteristic, its function, and when it's there. It's the reality which hasn't been known yet, but just learn about it. And how come to realize the reality which is there, not just hearing and have confidence of the truth of it in words only. It needs sati. See, we learn to understand different realities little by little. Otherwise, the I there tries so hard to know it. And when it's not the object of understanding, it means that the understanding at the level of intellectual understanding is not firm enough.
Is it right to say that it's so hard to see realities as they are because they arise and fall away very quickly?
So that's the answer. Is it hard? So subtle, it's there all the time, unknown. What appears is like nothing arises and falls away at all. But in truth, whatever arises falls away. So can there be a moment of beginning to understand just one reality, to understand that each one is different? So that can be directly understanding with direct awareness of just one reality. Why? To understand that it's not the other, which after this one has fallen away, can be the future is the present when time comes. And the present will be past. Why? When time comes, so very, very rapidly. And this is why our dhammas are so very subtle. Without the enlightenment of the Buddha, how can there be any understanding or any right idea about it? Even there's birth and death, seeing, hearing, attachment and aversion. They're all there, unknown, that they cannot be anything, they cannot be mine, they cannot belong to anyone, because it's there just arising and falling away, no more, never to arise again. Is it true? This is the first round of the Four Noble Truths. Is it true?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when there is confidence, there can be more confidence of reality as no one and no thing. The more understanding of any reality, there will be less ignorance and attachment to that object. That's why not just one reality which is known enough to let go, impossible. Because there is always ignorance of what is there by conditions all the time, from life to life. Is it so subtle?
Yeah, especially citta. For instance, we have some idea of somanasa, domanasa, and anger and attachment. We have some ideas, but at least as far as I'm concerned, I have no idea of what chittas are. It's so hard to perceive or to see.
Okay, if we don't use the word citta at all, is there seeing right now?
Yes, there should be.
And what is seen is that which sees.
See things, people.
Can people be seen? People.
No, their concept, I know that.
It's not the word, but the truth.
But seeing doesn't appear as seeing.
So learn to understand that there is seeing before understanding what seeing is, because now there is seeing. So seeing is real, it's true, it's now, right? But it's not known what is seeing and what is that which is seen. And this is ignorance. Without hearing about the truth, can there be a moment of beginning to attain, to understand the characteristic of the seeing now, that it's the reality, it's real, it's that which sees. Even it does not appear as sound or sight or whatever, because no shape, no form. It's a reality which experiences an object. No one can stop it to not experience anything at all. But there is a reality right now. The proof is that it's now sees. So it's there, a reality sees. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Can there be the object which is seen appearing right now?
No.
And this is the subtlety, so subtle of whatever is there, unknown from life to life. But there can be a moment of hearing about the truth and consider to understand that the truth is so very deep. Even it's there, it does not show up. And when there's no hearing about it, there cannot be the understanding or the idea of there is a reality in life which arises and experiences whatever is there from moment to moment. As long as one is alive, is still alive. So it's there from birth, but at birth, who knows the object of that which arises to experience an object? Even is there, it has a reason, it experienced the object and then gone unknown, because it's not the object of this world which appears through 6 doorways, one at a time. So at that moment is there. Life begins at birth because there is a reality which experiences the object, and also other reality conditioned by the same condition to be just that from birth. And it arises and falls away because whatever arises falls away. Even right now, no one knows, but the truth is that seeing is not hearing, is not thinking, is not liking. So one reality appears at a time, from one to another, succeeding so very rapidly. That's why it covers up the truth of the impermanency of what is there now, arising and falling away, different ones by conditions. The sun is different from the star, from the tree, by conditions. So whatever, even the reality which arises to experience the object, also different by conditions. Moha or citta, say we use that word. It seems like that is the understanding of citta and moha and mula, but no understanding of the truth, just the word. It's there, but it's not the object of understanding because it's gone. That's why learn to understand the truth little by little, to have firm understanding of the truth. Satya, Parami, so firm, Adidana Parami, never change. The only way to understand what is there now is from hearing, considering, and have firm confidence of the truth. Never change. the first round of the four Arya Satya, and learn to understand how can it appear. It is pariyati of the patipati, how it develops little by little until after that, how it can appear as it is. The third round of the Arya Satya. Otherwise, we just keep on at level of thinking that it's there, not self. And how to understand the citta right now. There must be a moment of no attention to the object, because beginning to attend to the reality which experiences the object right now. Is that true?
Yeah.
So when there is the understanding of a reality like citta, no doubt, no matter its moment of seeing or hearing, and these are cittanupassana satipatthana, no matter what citta, experience what is there. The reality which is citta is there, experiencing the object, no matter what the object is. Jhana, rupa jhana, and kusala and akusala, citta is there. And when there is attention to the citta, learn little by little to know moment of attention, begin to attend in order to understand a little more right now. Is what level of pariyati? See? So that's the way to understand citta, not just talk about it.
There are lots of thinking involved, but no true understanding of realities.
That's why learn to understand that what is there can be realized, the truth of it, little by little, one by one. Otherwise, there cannot be understanding of the nimitta, of the arising and falling away of one characteristic of a reality.
Yeah.
Is that moha mula citta now?
Yes, a lot.
See, only by thought, thinking. As long as there's no understanding of citta, and as long as there are still no direct experience clearly of the object, or the akusala still there, accumulated. But there are now moments of listening, considering, understanding little by little the difference between pariyati, first level, and the difference of that is understanding the difference between the first round and the second round, of pariyati. So very subtle, and only understanding the subtlety of Dhamma can let go the idea of clinging to have experience of this or that. It's a dream, just thinking about it. No understanding of what is there now. So it cannot lead to experience directly the truth of what is there. Begin to understand a little clear by different levels of pariyati, patipatti, and pativeda.
Yeah.
And without the foundation of understanding the truth, that right understanding has to develop gradually, stage by stage. And that's the only way to let go. Beginning of letting go of desire or wishing, attachment to try to experience it and understand what's right and what's wrong. So right understanding begin to be understanding what is there. as right or wrong, true or not. Different levels of panya. So be truthful to the truth and learn to understand a little more and understand the truth, that this is the level of intellectual understanding about seeing right now, hearing right now, or any kind of citta right now, as long as citta does not show up, because it begins to be the object of thinking, considering, attending, and to be aware little by little.
Yeah. Yeah, it requires a lot of patience, kanti.
And it's panya which knows, see?
Yeah,
And the more understanding of the truth, the enlightenment is quite far away, because ignorance thinks that it's so close very easily. But in truth, the more understanding, the more expectation, the less expectation, less clinging, less wrong understanding.
yes.
And this is the way to let go ignorance and attachment and wrong understanding. So it is the path leading to the fourth path of Ariya Satya.
Yeah.
So now, what is there? The arising, falling away by conditions. It doesn't matter at all. No one can do anything, but understanding deeper can be conditioned to directly understand what is there, little by little.
Yeah.
Be truthful, to be confident of the truth as parami with viriya and kanti and nekama.
Yeah.
So now we are on the right understanding is on the way, the subtle way. And it let go wrong understanding and attachment to it or to attain the truth without any understanding.
Yeah.
And panya is firmer now.
Yeah.
And the more understanding, there are all moments of parami develop.
Yeah.
And that is panya, the development of moment of understanding little by little, to understand more about seeing right now or anything when it's there, because we'll have learned about it to be able to understand the truth of it when it's there.
Yeah.
Appreciate the understanding of the truth